For more on the patient travel season, I want to bring in Michael Taylor, Managing Director of Travel, Hospitality, and Retail at JD Power. Good to see you again. I don't know. I've kind of run out of patience. I got to be honest. It's this whole thing about pilots and staffing, and it doesn't do it for me. What am I missing?
Well, the problem here is that you just can't go out in the street and hire someone to fly a 737. It takes many, many years actually to get to that level. We've had some changes at the FAA since 2009 about the number of hours that someone has to fly in an aircraft in order to be a co-pilot of a jet. It went from 250 hours to 1,500 hours. So there really has been a kind of a long-term dearth of pilots. And then, of course, we had the COVID period where we asked people to retire early. Some airlines fired some folks who wouldn't take the vaccination. And this is what results here is we have a very, very tight system with any problem causing a big ripple effect across the international travel market.
Right. But here's my take on it, is like this has been known for a while. The airlines are scheduling more and more flights with, as you say, less and less pilots. They know that they have a shortage of pilots and a shortage of staff. So why schedule these flights to begin with?
Well, they have pared back some of them. According to the FlightAware statistics that I look at, some of the smaller market routes have been eliminated, and they've tried to manage this as best they can. But demand is up 17% versus a year ago. And basically what that means is there are fewer aircraft flying, but they're more full. And that if you get any kind of problem with the system, say weather or crews timing out because they can't work, you can't work a pilot 50, 60 hours a week, you wouldn't want that to happen. They need to stay on the ground. That airplane doesn't go anywhere because they don't have a backup pilot to fly it or a backup crew to man it. And so that creates a big system problem from coast to coast and internationally as well.
Let me read you what Senator Bernie Sanders said in a letter addressed to the Department of Transportation head, Pete Buttigieg. He basically is asking them airlines, that is, he's asking the airlines to refund the full airplane ticket if the flight is delayed by more than 1 hour. And on top of that, to fine the airlines $27,500 for each passenger on aircraft that's been sitting around on a tarmac, basically delayed by 2 or 3 hours. It's gotten to the point where, do you think Congress needs to take action here?
I don't think Congress taking action would solve our problem. The problem here is just basically one of manpower. And it's the longest lead time problem that you have. As I said before, you just can't hire these folks off the street. You need to develop a workforce over years that can fly a 737 or a 777, and that is the problem. And as far as Mr. Sanders or Senator Sanders' suggestions, if he's looking to bankrupt airlines, it's probably a good way to go about it.
Okay, that's a fair point. Now, am I right? And I fly from coast to coast, from here, from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles and Seattle, and I noticed my ticket prices. I paid $94 for a one-way ticket, and I just looked the other day, and it's $1,000.
Correct.
That is 10 times more.
From Seattle. It was twice as much as it was the last time. Yes, there are certain markets that have gone up. The price of fuel is increased 100%. There are labor costs and labor strikes that we're seeing, and labor unions are demanding more of the airlines, and they've just come out of a period where they were only operating at 10% of their capacity about 2 years ago. So yes, they did get a bailout from the United States government, about $50 billion, but that goes very, very fast in the course of a year in an industry as big as this.
All right, so let's provide some help to our audience in the U.S., Michael. If you were planning a trip for your family or your friends and to go somewhere, what are some tips or some ways that they could save some money somehow?
Well, the best thing to do at the moment is don't check a bag. Checking a bag puts you into a different kind of situation where you easily switch airlines or flights or be as flexible. So if you can take a vacation, it just requires you to carry on. And I know that's difficult. I just went to Scotland. You can't carry on golf bags, which is what we did. And we were delayed 5.5 hours getting to London Heathrow last week. So, but that would be the biggest thing I would say is if you can fly direct, and you can not check luggage. That's probably the best thing to do at the moment.
Let me step away from the airline industry for just a minute. Let's talk about the hotels. Let's talk
Sure.
about the cruise ships. Everybody I've spoken to, every expert in industry is saying demand is gangbusters. How long is this
Right.
going to last?
Well, it's probably going to last through at least August here in this half of the world. There's just pent up demand, and people, as I've said before on this program, we're talking about operational issues over the summer. But once the summer gets over, we're going to be talking about prices of tickets, as we just did. That's going to be the biggest thing. But people don't, at the moment, do not care what it costs. They've been saving money for the last 2 years by not traveling, and they're determined to spend it. Personally, as I mentioned, that trip to Scotland I made, I've been planning that for 3 years. And come heck or high water, I was going to go, and we did. And it cost me a lot more money than I originally planned.